You've cut back on sugar. You've quit jobs that drained you. You've downsized your home to simplify life. But that one family member who always leaves you exhausted, still in your life. That friend who takes and never gives, still on your calendar. That person who creates chaos everywhere they go, you're still picking up the pieces. Here's what most people over 50 don't realize. You're not dealing with difficult personalities. You're dealing with what economist and historian Carlo Cipolla called stupid people. And his research shows they're far more dangerous than manipulators, liars, or thieves. Cipolla wrote a brilliant, darkly funny essay called The Basic Laws of Human Stupidity that explains exactly why these toxic relationships keep draining you, and more importantly, how to identify them before they cost you another decade of peace. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you Cipolla's matrix for categorizing every person in your life, family, friends, acquaintances, and give you a practical framework for protecting your energy after 50. This isn't about being cold or cutting everyone off. It's about finally understanding the specific patterns of toxic behavior and making strategic decisions about who deserves access to your time, energy, and peace. If you want more content like this, click like now to help this channel reach others who need it. Let's dive in. Carlo Cipolla wasn't a self-help guru or a pop psychologist. He was a serious economic historian at UC Berkeley who wrote about medieval trade routes and currency systems. But in 1976, he wrote a short essay that became an underground classic, The Basic Laws of Human Stupidity. It started as a joke among colleagues, but it turned into one of the most brutally accurate descriptions of human behavior ever written. Cipolla's central thesis is simple but devastating. Stupid people are the most dangerous force in human society. Not evil people, not greedy people, stupid people. And the reason they're dangerous is because they cause harm to others while simultaneously harming themselves. And they do it without any rational motive. You can predict what a thief wants. You can negotiate with a manipulator. But you cannot reason with a stupid person because their actions don't follow logic. Now, why does this matter specifically after 50? Because at this stage of life, you've probably accumulated some resources, savings, property, time, emotional reserves. And stupid people in your circle, whether they're family members or old friends, can drain those resources faster than you realize. You don't have another 30 years to recover from bad relationships. Your energy isn't infinite anymore. Your patience has limits. And most importantly, you've earned the right to protect your peace. Cipolla's framework gives you the language and the logic to finally see these toxic patterns clearly. It removes the guilt, the confusion, and the endless second-guessing. Once you understand his laws, you'll never look at your relationships the same way again. And that clarity is exactly what you need right now. Cipolla created a simple but powerful matrix to categorize every person you encounter. It has two axes. The horizontal axis measures whether someone's actions benefit them or harm them. The vertical axis measures whether their actions benefit you or harm you. When you plot these two dimensions, you get 4 quadrants, 4 types of people. First quadrant, the intelligent person. Their actions benefit both them and you. This is the friend who helps you move, and you help them back. The family member who supports your decisions, and you support theirs. These relationships are win-win. They're rare, and they're gold. When you find them after 50, you hold on tight. Second quadrant, the bandit. Their actions benefit them, but harm you. This is the relative who borrows money and never pays it back. The friend who uses your connections for their career, but vanishes when you need support. The person who takes. Bandits are predictable. You know what they want. And because you know what they want, you can protect yourself. You can set boundaries. You can say no. Third quadrant, the helpless person. Their actions benefit you, but harm them. This is you when you keep helping someone who won't help themselves, sacrificing your time, energy, and resources while getting nothing in return except their temporary relief. Most people over 50 fall into this quadrant more than they realize, especially with adult children or aging parents. You give and give and give, and you're the one who ends up depleted. Fourth quadrant, the stupid person. Their actions harm both you and them. This is the family member who picks fights at every gathering, ruining the event for everyone, including themselves. The friend who makes catastrophically bad decisions and then drags you into the fallout. The person who creates chaos, burns bridges, and ends up isolated and miserable, and takes you down with them. These are the most dangerous people in your life, and Cipolla's first law is about them. Let me be very clear about what Cipolla means by a stupid person, because this isn't about intelligence or education. A stupid person, in Cipolla's framework, is someone who causes losses to another person or group while simultaneously causing losses to themselves. They don't gain anything from their destructive behavior. They just destroy. And that's what makes them so dangerous and so unpredictable. Think about the family member who refuses to get a hearing aid, then complains constantly that no one includes them in conversations, creating resentment on both sides. Or the friend who sabotages their own job opportunities and then blames you for not helping enough, straining the friendship while remaining unemployed. Or the relative who picks a fight over a minor issue at a holiday gathering, ruining the day for everyone, including themselves. No one wins. Everyone loses. That's the stupid person in action. Now, here's the cruel part that Cipolla emphasizes. Stupid people exist at every level of society, in every profession, in every income bracket. Your own family has them. Your friend group has them. And the reason they're so dangerous after 50 is that you've probably been tolerating them for decades. You've developed coping mechanisms. You've learned to tiptoe around their chaos. You've convinced yourself that this is just how they are, or family is family. But here's what changes after 50. You realize how much of your finite energy has been consumed by these people. You calculate the years lost, the stress absorbed, the peace sacrificed, and you start asking the question that Cipolla's work forces you to confront. Why are you still giving them access to your life? Because unlike bandits, who at least have a rational motive you can defend against, stupid people will continue harming you and themselves for no reason at all. And that's the pattern you need to recognize and break. Bandits are easier to spot than stupid people because their actions follow a clear logic. They gain, you lose. The manipulation has a motive. The exploitation has a goal. And once you see the pattern, you can protect yourself. But after 50, many people miss the signs because bandits in your life have gotten very, very good at camouflaging their behavior over decades. Consider the adult child who only calls when they need money, always with a crisis, always with a story, always with a promise that this is the last time. They gain financial relief. You lose savings you needed for your own security. Or the friend who dominates every conversation with their problems, but the moment you share yours, they change the subject or disappear. They gain emotional support. You lose the reciprocity that makes friendship worthwhile. Or the sibling who expects you to handle all the caregiving for aging parents while they live their life unencumbered, showing up occasionally to criticize your decisions. They gain freedom. You lose years of your life to stress and responsibility. The key difference between a bandit and a stupid person is this. The bandit is calculating. They know what they're doing. And because they know what they're doing, they'll often provide just enough to keep you engaged. The occasional thank you. The rare moment of acknowledgement. The promise of change that never materializes. They're managing your expectations just enough to keep the resource flow, your time, money, energy, emotional labor, running in their direction. After 50, you need to get ruthlessly honest about the bandits in your life. Make a list if you have to. Who takes more than they give? Who creates emergencies that become your responsibility? Who benefits from your generosity while offering nothing in return? The good news about bandits is that once you identify them and set firm boundaries, they usually move on to an easier target. They're transactional, and when you stop being a profitable transaction, they find someone else. Which brings us to the more complicated category, the helpless person, which might be you. Cipolla called the third quadrant the helpless person, someone whose actions benefit others but harm themselves. And if you're over 50 and reading this, there's a very high chance you've spent a significant portion of your life in this quadrant. Not because you're weak, but because you were taught that self-sacrifice equals virtue, especially if you're a woman, a caregiver, or someone raised with strong family or religious obligations. The helpless person keeps giving the adult child money, even though it enables their irresponsibility. The helpless person keeps hosting family gatherings, even though they're exhausted and no one offers to help. The helpless person keeps maintaining friendships that are one-sided because they're going through a hard time for the 10th year in a row. You benefit them, you harm yourself, and the cycle repeats until you're depleted. Here's the trap. Our culture celebrates this behavior. You're called selfless, generous, the glue that holds the family together. And those labels feel good, so you keep doing it. But Cipolla's framework exposes the reality. You're not in a win-win relationship. You're in a lose-win relationship, and it's unsustainable. The reason this matters so much after 50 is because the consequences compound. You've given decades to people who don't reciprocate, and now you're facing retirement or health challenges with less financial cushion, less energy, and less support than you would have had if you'd set boundaries earlier. The shift from helpless to intelligent in Cipolla's matrix requires one fundamental change. You start asking whether the other person is also contributing to your well-being, not just benefiting from your contributions to theirs. This isn't selfishness. This is survival. Because if you keep operating in the helpless quadrant, you'll hit 60, 65, 70, and realize you gave everything away and kept nothing for yourself. And by then, the people you sacrifice for won't be there to take care of you. They'll have moved on to the next helpless person willing to drain themselves dry. Cipolla's first law of human stupidity states this: always and inevitably, everyone underestimates the number of stupid individuals in circulation. Let that sink in. You think you know who the toxic people are in your life. You think you've identified them. But Cipolla's research and observation suggest you've missed some, probably several, and they're costing you more than you realize. The reason you underestimate their numbers is because stupid behavior doesn't announce itself. It hides behind excuses, explanations, and emotional appeals. The family member who always creates drama tells you they can't help it. They're just passionate. The friend who makes terrible decisions and expects you to fix the consequences tells you they were unlucky. They were blindsided. The person who harms you while harming themselves will never frame it that way. They'll make it sound like circumstances, bad timing, other people's fault. After 50, you need to apply Cipolla's first law rigorously to your social circle. Go through your phone contacts. Go through your family tree. Go through the people who have access to your time, energy, and peace. And ask yourself honestly, how many of them consistently create outcomes where both you and they lose? How many relationships leave both parties frustrated, exhausted, resentful, but somehow still continuing? That's the stupid dynamic at work. And there are more of them than you think. Here's the wake-up call. Some of these people have been in your life for 30, 40, 50 years. You've normalized their chaos. You've developed Stockholm Syndrome with their dysfunction. You think this is just how relationships are because you've never experienced anything different with them. But Cipolla's law forces you to see the truth. You've been surrounding yourself with people who hurt you while hurting themselves, and you've been calling it loyalty, family, friendship. It's time to call it what it is, a pattern you need to break before it consumes whatever time you have left. So if these toxic relationships are so obvious once you see Cipolla's framework, why do you keep tolerating them? Why haven't you already cut ties or set boundaries? The answer is that people over 50 face specific vulnerabilities that make it harder to exit bad relationships. And toxic people exploit these vulnerabilities whether they realize it or not. First vulnerability, fear of loneliness. Your social circle has shrunk naturally over the decades. People moved away, friendships faded, some people died. The idea of cutting another person out, even a toxic one, feels like you're choosing isolation. So you tolerate the chaos because chaos with company feels safer than peace alone. But here's the reality Cipolla's work illuminates. A stupid person doesn't provide real company. They provide the illusion of connection while draining your capacity for actual connection. You're already lonely when you're with them. You just haven't admitted it yet. Second, vulnerability, family obligation, and cultural guilt. You were raised in an era where family is everything wasn't just a saying, it was a commandment. The idea of distancing from a sibling, an adult child, even a toxic parent feels like a moral failure. But Cipolla's framework isn't about morality, it's about mathematics. If someone consistently causes losses to you and themselves, continuing the relationship doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you complicit in an ongoing cycle of harm. At 50, 60, 70, you've earned the right to prioritize your well-being over outdated obligations. Third, vulnerability, nostalgia, and sunk cost. This person wasn't always toxic. You have good memories. You've invested decades into this relationship. The thought of walking away feels like admitting those decades were wasted. But here's what Cipolla's logic makes clear. Past investment doesn't justify future loss. The question isn't, how long have we known each other? The question is this relationship currently benefiting either of us? If the answer is no for both of you, ending it or limiting it is actually the intelligent move, even if it feels painful. Fourth, vulnerability, the belief that you can fix them. You've seen their potential. You know they're capable of better. If you just try harder, give more, be more patient, maybe they'll change. But Cipolla's second law states, the probability of a certain person being stupid is independent of any other characteristic of that person. Translation, their behavior pattern won't change because of your effort. You cannot logic someone out of stupid behavior. You cannot love someone out of it. You cannot sacrifice yourself into their transformation. The pattern is the pattern. Your only choice is whether you stay in range of the damage. Cipolla's framework gives you clarity, but clarity alone doesn't create change. You need a practical strategy for protecting your peace without creating more chaos. And the good news is that you have more options than the binary of tolerate everything or cut everyone off. Let me give you a framework for the strategic exit that respects your reality after 50. Step 1. Categorize honestly. Take a piece of paper and draw Cipolla's matrix. 4 quadrants: intelligent people, bandits, helpless interactions, stupid people. Now place every significant person in your life in one of these quadrants based on their consistent pattern, not their occasional good behavior. Be ruthless with this assessment. If someone consistently creates lose-lose outcomes, they go in the stupid quadrant, even if they're your sister, your oldest friend, your adult child. This exercise alone will shock you into clarity. Step 2. Different strategies for different quadrants. 4 intelligent people. The win-win relationships. Invest more. Spend time, energy, vulnerability. These are your people. Protect them. For bandits, set hard boundaries. Limit their access to your resources. Stop expecting reciprocity. Treat them as transactional relationships with strict limits. They'll either respect the boundaries or they'll leave. Either outcome improves your life. For the helpless dynamic where you're giving too much, rebalance slowly. Start saying no. Start asking for reciprocity. Give people the chance to step up. If they don't, you have your answer about what the relationship really is. But for the stupid people, the ones who harm you while harming themselves, you need a different approach entirely. You cannot fix them. You cannot reason with them. Your only option is distance. And distance doesn't have to mean a dramatic confrontation or a burned bridge. It means reducing contact frequency, limiting the depth of engagement, protecting your emotional and financial resources, and accepting that this person will continue their pattern with or without you. Your goal is simply to not be in the blast radius anymore. Step 3. Practical tactics for distance without drama. Stop being available immediately. Delay responses. Reduce visits. Shift from weekly calls to monthly calls to occasional calls. If someone only contacts you in crisis, stop being the first responder. Recommend other resources, therapists, financial advisors, support groups. Slowly train them that you're not the solution to their self-created problems. If they escalate or guilt you, That's confirmation that they were in the stupid or bandit quadrant all along. Intelligent people respect boundaries. Toxic people punish them. Let that response be your final proof. Step 4. Build your protection system. You cannot sustain distance from toxic people if you're isolated. You need to actively cultivate the intelligent relationships in your life. The win-win people who energize you rather than drain you. Join communities. Reconnect with old friends who are actually good for you. Invest in relationships where both people benefit. Because the only sustainable way to keep toxic people at bay is to fill your life with people who prove, every day, that healthy relationships actually exist. And they do. Cipolla knew they were rare, but they exist. Your job after 50 is to find them, keep them, and protect your access to them by removing the people who destroy your capacity for real connection. So here's what Carlo Cipolla's brilliant framework gives you. Permission to stop tolerating toxic relationships in the name of loyalty, family, or history. You now have the matrix. For quadrants, every person in your life fits into one. And you know, if you're honest, exactly where each person belongs. The intelligent people who create win-win outcomes. Keep them close. The bandits who take at your expense. Set boundaries or let them go. The helpless dynamic where you're sacrificing yourself. Rebalance or walk away. And the stupid people who harm both of you in an endless cycle. Distance yourself before they consume whatever piece you have left. My challenge to you: pick one relationship right now that you know is toxic. Just one. Place it honestly in Cipolla's matrix. Then decide, what's your strategic exit? You don't have to execute it today, but you need to acknowledge the truth and start planning your protection. If this brought you clarity, click like to help this channel reach others who need it. If you want more practical philosophy for life after 50, subscribe. And tell me in the comments, which quadrant has the most people in your life right now? Let's talk about it. See you tomorrow.